Guantanamo. Every morning at 8 a.m., the U.S. national anthem erupts across the base that holds America's most scandalous prison.
No one likes to be spit on. No one likes to have thrown at them.
Torture, hunger strikes, and suicides have marred this place since 2002.
They're human beings, after all. There's no reason to expect that they enjoy being here. We don't pretend otherwise.
Prisoners held indefinitely in the name of the never-ending war on terror.
Whether they're innocent or guilty is not our job right here, JTF. We have the court system to determine that.
In just over a decade, a total of 779 prisoners, the majority released without charges. Today, 164 remain, over half of them cleared for release, but still kept locked up. On the other side of the barbed wire, life is a blast.
There's water and the beach, and it's nice. There's nothing really bad about here.
Just like any common American town.
I was awfully scared to come here, but I mean, it's absolutely a beautiful place when you get around all the other stuff.
Getting around the other stuff is not hard. A lot of what goes on here is kept under a thick veil of denial and secrecy. Camp Delta houses a hospital and library, and this is also the place where patients are force-fed. And even though the hunger strike is largely and officially said to be over, we know that at least 15 people are continually being force-fed here today. A tube is passed down through a person's nostril and pushed all the way down to their stomach.
Before it's passed down the nose, we lubricate it, and we give the patient a choice. Do they want to have lidocaine, which is an agent that will numb the area, or if they want olive oil to lubricate the tube. Most of our patients have been using olive oil. They seem to like it. In fact, some of our patients are so used to this, they will describe which nostril they want.
This, while major world medical bodies are in agreement that force-feeding is not ethical and should not be practiced.
The force-feeding that my clients have experienced at Guantanamo, they've certainly described it as torture. The restraint chair that they're strapped into, they actually call the torture chair in Arabic.
Force-feeding takes up to 45 minutes and is performed twice a day.
The patients I've had in the civilian world have said it feels strange. I've never heard them say it's been. I have not heard that.
Gitmo officials are beyond nonchalant about the highly criticized practice.
You might feel it differently from the way I might feel it. Uncomfortable has been the most that I have heard.
They don't even believe in what they're saying anymore because they know it sounds stupid.
I volunteer that the procedure be demonstrated on me. Request declined.
The prisoners who've not met one another and have speak different languages keep saying the same thing, that we were tortured, we were abused. They tied our hands to the chair, they shackled our legs to the ground, they put a strap across our heads, and they forced in a tube into our noses.
Never in 13 years have detainees been allowed to speak directly to a journalist while remaining at Gitmo, only leaking statements through lawyers.
They would love nothing more than to sit down with journalists and just tell them about their daily lives.
But communicating seems to only occur here.
If someone was at a point where maybe they had been verbalizing a lot of hopelessness, we would immediately intervene and try to assist that person to make sure that there wasn't any thoughts of maybe wanting to harm themselves or end their lives.
With charts like these often used to pinpoint patients' despair.
You'll ask them, how do you feel right now? And they'll be able to point to it. We have not had a patient in this area. Thank heavens.
Meanwhile, 6 suicides and dozens of suicide attempts have taken place at the detention facility.
We haven't seen any autopsies. The U.S. government hasn't released any formal reports or findings.
We're now outside 2 active camps at Guantanamo. Camp 5 holds single cells where the so-called less compliant detainees are held. Camp number 6 is one filled with communal cells. When officials deem that detainees have behaved better, they are rewarded by being allowed to live in groups.
While detainees are kept away from us, what we witness are clean, empty prison cells with cozy pajamas, Colgate toothpaste, and maximum security shampoos, paraded in front of journalists as proof. Everything is so much better here than any silly horror stories we all have heard. Anastasia Churkina, RT, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.